Good. So you're recording immediately.
Of course, I want every single juicy second with you, buddy.
You say you should start recording immediately because we we have some things to discuss.
What I don't know what you could possibly be referring to. How you doing? First of all, you doing okay?
I'm fine. I'm so happy that we get to follow up on our last conversations and tie up some loose ends and I can make amends to you. Uh,
That's not what this is about. I don't need apologies or anything like that, but I do. Should we just launch right in? Should we just do
please
it? Okay.
do it.
We're launching right in with he's been on the podcast a couple times. Mr. Andrew Garfield joins me, and he's always welcome here. It's been a great year. Tick, tick, boom. I will talk about till the end of time. Congratulations, buddy. But as you know, this is an interesting circumstance. And I've been looking forward to this chat for a few months.
Me too.
Andrew, do you have any opening statement, any preamble before we launch right in?
Oh my goodness. Like it's hard to know like it's hard to know if I won the game of werewolf or if I lost it or if I'm somewhere in between. Because obviously there is a great portion of the population would have said, "We knew you were the fucking werewolf, you idiot. Like you're the worst liar ever." And then there might be other people that would be like, "No, he got me or he got." So I am the werewolf, and it was really fun to do that and to play that with you and to play it with all the people that watched that interview and listened to that interview and my gosh, it's kind of sad. I'm kind of sad that it's over in a way. I kind of wish we could continue the game.
There will always be secrets. There will always be games to be played. Maybe
Not
not
as
on
much
this level. Maybe
on this
not.
level. This one was pretty special to be able to. It was such a lovely feeling to be able to have a surprise party planned for everyone. And then, when you have like a friend that's like, no, just tell me I know there's a surprise party, so just tell me. I hate surprise parties, just tell me. And then you have to like weigh that balance between, oh God, now I feel a little bit guilty that I'm not telling them that there's this surprise party and actually they may not want the surprise, but then I think deep down they really do want the surprise to
Of
happen.
course. Yes.
So I think I kind of was like putting myself in that position and going, well, what would I want? I would want to be guessing. So
There is okay. So we have this is an extraordinary, unique circumstance when we get a chance to kind of deep dive into something that we've all been speculating about for so long. So if you'll indulge me, we're going to just have kind of like a little bit of a spoiler chat about all aspects of this, all the rumors that were circulating and the timeline. I kind of want to get into as much of it as you're comfortable doing.
fun.
Um, First of all, when this came up, when Amy and Kevin and John came to you, was there was there doubt in your mind? Was it like, oh, this is a brilliant idea, I'm all in, or was it like, given, it was an interesting way that your tenure ended, and I know there was mixed feelings about it. What was your attitude when they came to you? Was it an immediate yes, or did you stew on it?
It's a good question. Yeah, I mean, I definitely paused because, as I'd spoken to you about before, like I had definitely closed that chapter of my life and felt very peaceful and good about it, and I only have nice feelings towards it at this point, and a great relationship with Amy, and love, genuinely love what Tom Holland's done and what John Watts and Kevin Feige have done with Amy and the whole crew on it. So you know, it's I can't avoid the fact that it was always my fantasy to to play that part within the MCU.
Right.
And I was never ever shy about that. I think it
Yes.
was at the first Comic Con that I was a part of. I said, what are the question was, what do you have any dreams for this character? Like, oh, it would be fun to see him team up with the Avengers and in the MCU. Like, that as a fan, that's what you want, and I'm a fan first and foremost. So that was that. So when this came around, I was in a very, very kind of like Zen place, and I was just a fan again, and it felt great. And I was like, oh, do I want to open that up again? Do I want to be a and then that was when I first heard that they wanted to do something with both Toby, myself, and with Tom. I was definitely intrigued, and I think I probably cracked up laughing in this kind of giddy, nervous kind of, a little bit like, you're about to end. I don't know. It was just very, very giddy, and I was like, oh my God, that's an insane idea. And then the pitch was just quite comprehensive. Like John is so full of heart. Kevin is so full of heart. And obviously, I know and love Amy, and she's been with this character since the first Toby film. So it's,
Right.
if anyone knows this character, it's Amy Pascal. So it was really, and I went to their offices, and they basically just kind of said, well, this is what we want to do. We think it could really work. We don't have a script yet. And we don't want it to be like a stunt thing. We don't want it to be like a kind of a cameo, a quick like in and out. We want it to be actually in service to Tom's journey as Peter, and in service to both of your different Peters. And we really think there's something really interesting to explore about when these three lone wolves who think they're alone in the universe and their own experience of being singular experience of being Spider-Man come together, like what we think, and we want to collaborate on it. Basically, we want to have your input and your ideas, and Amy was really amazing with that, because she knows that I was, that I come with a lot of thoughts and kind of creativity and imagination, and she was very good in setting that up with those guys, and they were just like, yes, this is the way we want to work. We want it to be a collaboration, and the main kind of image that they kind of pitched me was catching Zendaya, catching
Oh, it was there from the start.
MJ, and that was
Yeah.
that was the first pages I saw, and I was kind of like, oh, there's no way of not doing this, because that's profound. That's a profound moment. The idea, like an older brother saving his little brother from his same fate across the universe. If that portal hadn't have been opened up and my Peter Parker hadn't have been there in that moment, it's arguable that he would have had the same fate. But the fact that I had, but like, you suddenly get into this incredible kind of cosmic, meant to be destined moment where I get to heal the worst trauma in my life while simultaneously saving my little brother from having to experience that same trauma. Suddenly you're in very, very mythic territory, and it's just profoundly beautiful.
So
So
wait,
yeah,
since
so I was kind of,
since
I
you
was
mentioned that scene, can we dive into that scene for a second? Because like that is such just like it kicks. It just like everyone that watches that scene gets so emotional. I was just so moved from the time I saw it, and I'm just curious. Like, was it always that on the page? Because it's pretty minimal. There's not much dialogue. It's really a look. It's her asking you back, "Are you okay?" And
that
and
was
I, the audience just like
yeah.
feels it on your face, feels it in your body. It's
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah, I mean, so that was, yeah, you don't need the image is enough, right?
Yeah,
Like, I think that was, and it was really important. One of the things that I wanted to make sure that a thread that I wanted to make sure, because in terms of selling that moment, we needed that moment in the lab while we're all working on our cures, of me just watching, seeing them together,
yeah,
feeling them together, and longing for them to be together. You just need to see my Peter clocking their true love, and of course opening his own wounds, but also it opens another thing in him, which is, oh my God, I want them to have that. I want my bro to have that, and I want her to have that. And so I think that was a really important little seed to drop to make that later moment work. And then the later moment, it was, I forget whether it was scripted or not, but yeah, the total simplicity of it, and me just I think it was really important to feel like that it was a moment for my Peter of, I think I just saved you. I think I did, and I need you to tell me that I did,
yeah.
because 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 I'm not seeing you in my arms right now. I'm seeing Gwen not breathing in my arms right now, because that moment becomes, in that trauma moment, that's what happens. You get thrown back into, so it's, I think there's disbelief, genuine disbelief in Peter in that moment, to check in and say, are you okay? And the affirmation of that, and then it can start to sink in, and you kind of feel Gwen's hand on Peter's back a little bit, going, you can rest now. There's that cosmic thing that happens. And then this is a tribute to Zendaya as a creative person and as an actress, and then she, because she saw what I was doing and what the effect it was having. And she's just such a sensitive human being, and MJ is such a sensitive, beautiful character that whether it was improvised or whether it was just her idea to say that in the writing to check in on me to see ask if I was okay. That was all her, you
Oh
know. I
wow.
was so like but that was happening all the time, and because we managed to create actual connection, like for me and Toby coming in, and it's a testament to the three of them, to Jacob, Zendaya, and Tom, is that they love each other so much, and they are such a pack. It's so true love. It's such true love between them, and they were so welcoming of me and Toby into that gang. We created a gang for a minute for that month or so that we were in Atlanta, all shooting together and rehearsing together, and so every single moment that's happening between us on screen is kind of just us finding each other and
Yeah.
kind of curious about each other and like loving each other and just kind of supporting each other and quibbling and like brother dynamic. Like, it was all art imitating life, really.
Right. One of the other reasons I think that that scene with Zendaya works is there is dialogue talking about where your Peter has been the last few years, and it's only alluded to in a couple lines. But I'm curious, like, how much did you fill that out? Those last like 7 years. What's your Peter obviously has not moved on yet. He has not found his MJ. He is still, he talks about not pulling his punches. Like, how much more did you flesh out? How involved were you in kind of figuring out like where Peter's been, where your Spider-Man has been?
That's so interesting. 'Cause the writers kind of, the great writers kind of beat me to it. Like that was their first pitch was, we like the idea, and they were very open. They were like, but we like the idea of you having to have kind of cut your heart off from, well, this is how I understood it anyway, that you've had to kind of cut your heart off in order to carry on doing the job of Spider-Man. And
Right.
and that was the kind of the base note. And I thought, oh, that's really, really interesting. And then but then my concern with that was like, I don't want to be, that gives me actually a little bit of a journey to go on. But my main one of my main impetuses for being a part of this was I wanted to have fun, and I wanted it to be joyful. And then I thought, well, actually then that's actually a great place to start from, and it gives me this big hunger for connection, actually. Like and especially for this brother connection across universes, because I think, and then I started going, well, if I've cut my heart off, if I've cut Peter Parker off, then it means that I'm being, then my Spider-Manning is going to be suffering too, actually. Like Spider-Man doesn't exist without the heart of Peter Parker.
Sure.
So I was just kind of taking that logic that the writers had kind of offered up, and I kind of ran with it and expanded it. And then yeah, and then it was just a lot of finessing and fine tuning of that pretty great kind of coup de theater that John Watts pulls off on that rooftop scene, where it's just a fucking Spider-Man support group trying to save their brother from the abyss. Like that shit's cool, and
Yeah.
it felt very, very powerful, because obviously what Tom is going through, Tom's Peter Parker is going through in that moment, is the heaviest stuff he's ever had to go through
Yeah.
as the character. It's like it's his origin story that's just so happening to happen in the third film, if in his third movie,
Yep.
which I think is another brilliant kind of reversal, like kind of irreverent undercutting of the usual formula, which is why these films work so brilliantly.
And you guys are seeing it in front of you. You're seeing the echoes of your own origin story, which is so powerful to see in your eyes.
And it's pretty cool that his origin story is, as you say, witnessed and enabled by his older across the universe Spider Bros. Like
Yeah.
that's very, very cool. And so yeah, that scene took a lot of finessing. Like me and Toby worked really hard to make sure that we were kind of the same mind, coming at it from different corners of the Peter Parker psyche, but that every line, every breath, every word, every moment had to be in service of what Tom was going through, of what Tom's Peter was going through. It couldn't be, well, I've been through this and I've been through that. It had to be like, I'm telling you that I've been through
Right.
this because I know where it leads. And I'm telling you that I've been through this to let you know that this isn't, that this unique pain that you're feeling is that, but also that you have, that you can actually maybe find some solace that this is survivable and actually might just deepen your destiny. This actually might be a little destiny deepener for you. Yeah.
Is there anything that any moment, any scene that didn't make the final cut that you recall, that you miss, that you recall on set?
Oh man. I mean, to be honest, it's a lot of it, like the great majority of the fuck around stuff that we were doing is in there. Like a lot of the improvisations are in there, like a
Yeah.
lot of the finding it is in there. Like I love that John included the moment of me telling them I love you guys. Like that felt so important to me. And again, it's like that kind of like that journey for my Peter of kind of starting as this kind of, I don't know, defended, like untrusting, kind of slightly cut off
Right.
person into this, just back into his Peter Parkerness, back into I've always wanted brothers. Like all that was kind of just
Yeah.
me riffing and kind of like just being honest, just being really, really honest and vulnerable in the moment. I love that Jamie got to say I always thought you were black, and for me to be disappointed in myself and not being black. That those moments, that was all really fun. I love so like we had lots of different lines for the Toby, like saying to Toby, are you gonna go into battle dressed like a cool youth pastor, or are you gonna did you bring your suit? And that one I think was a John Watts, or maybe it was his assistant, because they were just in by the monitors, like writing all the different versions of, are you going to go into battle dressed as, my my mom's stepdad,
Right.
and he, like all those things. And that one was ultimately the one that made the cut. There was a moment. Oh, I had a thought of a moment that I Oh, so we were trying to figure out the pointing thing. Like, how are we going to do the
Right.
pointing thing in a way
The
that
famous
is,
meme, of course. Yes.
yeah, and how are we going to do it in where's that? It took us a while to, it kind of happened naturally while we're on that scaffolding, deciding like you, Peter 1, Peter 2, Peter 3, like all that. But actually, there was, I was like, I remember having a lightning bolt and going, and then running into set and telling John, I was like, I got it, I got it, I got it. Because there's this moment where Jacob's like, hey Peter, and we all go, yeah. But in the script, it was like that was that. It was like we all go, yeah, and then I think in scripted it was like my Peter says, this isn't gonna get old at all, like something kind of sardonic,
Right.
which felt a little kind of undercutty and not quite right for the moment because it's cute. It's actually kind of cute. So then, like, we were thinking, I could say, oh, this is adorable. Like, we're so adorable. God, we're cute. Something like that. But then I was like, oh, no, this is the moment where we get to go, oh, did you mean me or did you mean that? So anyway, and John was like, that's it. Yeah, done. And I'm so happy that worked. Anyway, it was so playful and creative and free. And like, I love the fact that Toby has his back issues and that I'm trying to like be his friend by saying I have my back issues too. I was stretching at one point in that scene, like I was doing like old man stretching before that moment,
Right.
which didn't make the cut, but I think it's better. I think it's better that that was all Toby's. No, I mean, like it was so many. There was a great improvised line that Tom had, which was about like, did you ever get like when we were talking about Toby's web fluids? Like, did you ever get like an MRI or like a kind of like, I don't know, like have you ever like, because it would be fascinating just in the name of science to like, X-ray your wrists and see where this fluid originates, and like there was all like, so there's always some stuff that doesn't make it. But to be honest, like a lot of, and it was at first Zendaya picks up a candlestick or something to like threaten me with in that first scene where I come in, and but then there was this basket of bread, and that was her just going, can I just throw bread at him? And then John was like, yeah, throw bread at him.
Perfect.
So like it was all, it felt like kids just playing, like all of us just kind of playing. It was so much fun.
What was it the same suit?
Yeah, I still fit, bruh.
A testament to your
I had to get it
discipline.
checked.
Well done.
No, I had to like work on it with my trainer. But yeah, I was very nervous about that. I was like, no one wants to see an old fat guy in a Spider-Man costume.
Are are Mark and Emma like were they plugged in? Like, did you ever talk to them? Have they do you know if they've seen the movie? Like, is that like what's their awareness of this?
Emma kept on texting me and she was like, "Are you in this new Spider-Man film?" And I was like, "I don't know what you're talking about."
What? You're stonewalling Emma too?
She was like, "Shut up, just tell me." I'm like, "I honestly don't know what." I kept it going even with her. It was
I,
hilarious.
to the end, you never admitted to Emma?
No. And then she saw it. She was like, "You're a jerk."
That is so cruel and amazing, and I love it.
I didn't want to tell anyone. I took it
You
super
didn't want to
serious.
rob it. Yeah, I got it.
I told no one.
All right,
And
so
she,
let's talk about the leaks and stuff. Let's talk about this fun, like the silliness, the arc of this. So I have a bit of a timeline as I researched it.
okay.
Um, so January of last year, I think this was the first kind of leaky story. Was a DoorDash delivery guy that supposedly had delivered food to you. Was that a true? That was actually that was real. Clearly,
This was
that
my
was
first night in Atlanta. And I'm with two of my best friends who one of whom is on The Walking Dead, which shoots out there, and we're at the house that they're putting me up in, and I ordered takeout for us, and it's COVID is high,
right.
and and I order food. It's literally my first night there, and I know that I have to, it's great because I get to wear a mask everywhere, and I get to wear a hat. Like no one's ever gonna know I'm here, and I'm like gonna really be low key and whatnot. So the guy comes to the door, the delivery guy, sweet seeming guy, nice seeming dude. Um, and I open the door, got my mask on, my hat, and I'm like, "Thanks, bro." And he's like, "Yo, yo, yo, yo," and I'm like, "What?" He's like, "I need to see your ID," and I'm like, "Huh?" He's like, "I need to see your ID," and I'm like, "No delivery food thing has ever asked me for my ID. This is interesting." And by the way, he's like kind of like really close to the door. And at this
Mhm.
point, I'm super like I got to go to set tomorrow. I don't want to I don't want to risk shutting down a Marvel set in the middle of a pandemic. So I'm like, "Hey man, do you mind just like yeah, yeah, okay, sure, just 1 second. Do you mind just like stepping a few feet back because of COVID and everything?" And he does. Um, I don't know if he had a mask on. I forget whether he had a mask on or not. But either way, I'm like, "Why? Sorry, man. Why do you need my ID?"
Right.
Because I need to check that it's you. And I'm like, "Well, first of all, on my DoorDash account, it's not my name." And he's like, "Yeah, because you got alcohol." I'm like, "No, I didn't get alcohol."
Oh, yeah, that's what he had said on the yeah.
I'm like, "I didn't get any alcohol, man. I got some tacos." And
You have to be 21 to get a taco now? What kind of world do
yeah,
we live
like, dude, this is fishy. This is fishy, bro. And then I'm like, "1 second." So I'm just like, "Hey Trevor, just go show like
right.
to my friend Trev, like, can you show the guy your ID so that this is all just put to rest?" And it's my first night. I'm like, "Oh my God, I'm gonna get rumbled that I'm in Atlanta like immediately." And then yeah, lo and behold, the guy goes like, I think I just delivered food to Andrew Garfield. I think he called me rude,
Right.
which I definitely wasn't. I did ask to do social distancing, but I obviously upset the man. I didn't mean to, and I apologize for anything that may have been misconstrued as being rude. I don't like upsetting people, but it just became this whole thing,
Yeah.
and then like I think he got in trouble. I don't know, whatever. But wherever you are, sir, I saw you. I knew what you were up to. You're sneaky, and you gave me a good challenge that night. But
Yeah.
yeah. So yeah,
So
so that happened. Yeah.
you can weigh in on any of these that you want, but let's see. So in March, your double, I believe, posted a photo of himself with Tom's stunt double. What was the aftermath of that one,
I
Andrew? Were
love
there some
William.
conversations?
I love William Spencer so much. He is my dude for life. Like he is such an incredible artist. What he does. Just if anyone doesn't follow him on Instagram, you should. He is. a genius skateboard clown, physical comedy performer, slackline. Like he does the craziest shit ever.
Yeah.
And I'm so proud that me and him got to create the physicality of my Spider-Man together, because there's no one else who could do it than him and another guy, Ilram Choi, who's just they're both just geniuses. But yeah, me and William are friends. And I love him. And then but then I saw this post and I was like, bruh, I was like,
You do to me.
what are you doing? Like, Tom's stunt double is like there or something. I forget what it was, but it was just like, and he was very sweet about it. He was like, oh, come on, man. I'm just like, let me do my thing. And I'm like, yeah, do your thing. But like, I'm literally indoors. Like, I'm not in the world in any way trying to keep the secret. But yeah, he was like, oh yeah, my bad. I'm like, cool. We can move on.
So
But yeah,
that,
I love him. I love him. But yeah, and then like I think he took the post down, which kind of like brought more attention
right.
to it. And it's like, oh no.
So then things start to kind of escalate and the rumors kind of accumulate. And then as we kind of start to, so then like I talk to you and other people start to talk to you and you do some vociferous denials that, by the way, for the record, I bought it in the moment. I totally bought it. I really did. And it was only in afterwards when everybody else was like, that's a pretty profoundly extreme denial. But anyway, but then in the months in August and September, there's a photo of you guys, and then there's a video. There's a tiny. I mean, I don't know how this escapes Marvel's inner sanctum. I guess my question is like, at a certain point, was there ever discussion of like, okay, let's just give it up? I mean, it'll add to the marketing. Let's just like let's just say we're in it, or was there a lot of conversation about like, no, we're just gonna stonewall?
There was not a big conversation about any of it. It was all I would text Amy and be like, have you seen this?
Yeah.
And she'd be like, oh my God, what the and I'm like, okay, so cat's out of the bag, right? But then ultimately it was like, no, we just hold the line and we just kind of keep going, because I think I think that was the right thing to do. Like, it was, you know, even if the majority of people were like, we're pretty sure this is going to happen, I think there's always, even when you're pretty sure something's going to happen psychologically and you want it to happen, I think when it comes to the moment where you're about to find out if it's going to happen or not,
Yep.
suddenly like a weird self-preservation thing comes in, where you start to live with the idea of it not happening in
Right.
your mind and in your body, and then that just ups the want for the thing to happen. So actually there's a real kind of fun chemical thing that gets created in you. And even with the people that I think were pretty sure it was going to happen, I'm sure there was like a little scintilla of doubt as they were walking in to see No Way Home,
Yeah.
which allowed them to release and say, yes, it happened. You know, so I think it was the absolute right thing to do. And then it gave me fun things to talk about and deny, and talk about Photoshop, and like, even though it was like clearly me on set for Spider-Man wearing a Spider-Man.
I mean, I don't know how deep you went in, but there were like YouTube videos like analyzing it. They had like VFX guys being like, "This is not actually this can't be Photoshop. If you look at the indentation here, it's impossible."
But I love that. I mean, like, we all need something to
Right.
do. You know? We all need something that we enjoy doing, you know, and to get behind. And yeah, Spider-Man is a religion for us. So it's like, yeah, it's cool.
So in the aftermath of this, and this couldn't have gone better, artistically, commercially, critically, it's just like it doesn't happen like this, and it must be so satisfying from your perspective. And on behalf of the audience, it is very satisfying for all of us to watch this come to fruition. I'm sure you've sensed this. There is like this adoration, not only for this film, but for your character, for your specific Peter in this, and your arc in this. And there is a real hunger and thirst, seemingly, for more of you. And I know it's greedy to ask for more as this Peter Parker, but I don't know, where are you at? I know you've said in some other interviews that you're open if it's the right thing, but just give me a sense. Like, if you're a betting man today, do you think there's another Spider-Man movie in you?
I don't know. I will say this, like I feel, yeah, that love permeates. That love has reached me, and the kind of the enjoyment of people in the theaters have it's reached me. Like it's very touching. I find it really deeply moving because, when we finished my second Spider-Man film, it was a kind of, it petered out,
It was an awkward kind of goodbye. You never had kind of
yeah,
the,
there was a disjointedness there. So
yeah.
for me, coming back and actually getting some more time to have fun with it, and to give the character some closure, and to play, and to be the version of Spider-Man that I was always wanting to get to, and to be with, Toby and Tom and the rest of everybody in the movie. That was healing, and like just an incredible full circle moment. And then of course you have this other element where actually, like, it's breaking records in terms of people wanting to see it, and then you have this incredible critical response, and you have being a part of Tom's origin story. And I was torn open by Tom's storyline. Like Tom being isolated at the end, away from his love and away from his best friend, gives me chills now. When I saw it, I was broken by it. It was so agonizing, and the way he plays it, and the way that the three of them have created this love bond, and this, to see it broken, it's just the tragedy of it is so palpable and heavy and real amidst these very light John Hughesy films. Like
Yeah.
John Watson and Tom have really, with Zendaya and with Jacob, they've really created something quite profound and spectacular, while being an incredibly effective popcorn entertainment film. So like all of these things start to become like icing on top of icing on top of icing. And to have a friendship with Toby now that I didn't have as deeply previously, that I'm so grateful for, to have a mentor in him, and to be able to have a real like brotherhood with him and with Tom. It's just gorgeous. And then there's this other thing that you've alluded to, where you feel kind of seen and appreciated, and kind of welcomed, and and kind of feel a part of a character that you've always wanted to be a part of. And I'm really humbled by it, to be honest. I'm very, very touched by it, and I owe a lot of that to Amy, Pascal, and Kevin, for bringing me back into the fold and allowing me to have another crack, and to audiences for their generosity, and for I'm really humbled, man. And all I want to do is be a part of stories that make a difference in people's lives.
Yeah.
So to have that being reflected back, and for people to be saying that that's what's happening, is all the satisfaction that I want. And in terms of moving forward with the character, like, yes, I am definitely open to that. And again, it would have to be something very unique, very special, and of service to an audience, of service to the character. And I think there's something playful and unique and odd and unexpected to be done. I'm not sure what that is,
Mm.
but if we can figure that out, that would be so much fun. But
I mean, a lot of folks have mentioned, I mean, like, you've got Tom Hardy's Venom out there. You've got
that's a cool idea.
I mean, and there's obviously, as you alluded to from the start, you always kind of wanted to mix it up with the MCU. Now all bets are off. I mean, who the hell knows,
And also, I would love to continue working with Toby, like, and with Tom. Like, I think that kind of three brother dynamic is so, I don't know, juicy. And
Yeah.
so anyway, yeah, there's a lot, but to be honest, man, like, I'm gonna just honestly say, like, I'm so happy and satisfied and grateful to be a part of this, that it's hard to want more right now. Like,
Right. No.
I'm really just kind of trying to savor this moment with the fans and with the audience, and just kind of say thank you. And yeah, I just feel very, very humbled and grateful for the response.
I'll let you go in a sec, but I'm just curious, like, has this changed your relationship with the character? Like now, like, I mean, you obviously, this is a character you've always talked about just being so personal and passionate about.
Yeah.
I don't know, sitting here today versus 18 months ago before you put the costume back on, how's the relationship different between you and Peter and Spider-Man?
It's definitely different. It's lighter. It's more restful. Again, because I think the simple fact that we were mid story, and the most traumatic thing had happened in that character's life, and then the story kind of split, and we didn't get to continue to explore that. And that's why when these writers had this incredible idea that my Peter has been in a very dark place, I then the process of filling out those last 7 years or whatever felt healing to me. It felt like, oh, and then this may have happened, and then suddenly you're kind of imaginatively walking through a character's experience without it being filmed, but for your own kind of sense of journey and sense of connection to that character. And then again, as I say, having that closure with MJ and Tom and Gwen and the Brotherhood and a reconnection with the heart of Peter felt like this perfect full circle closure moment. So I feel much lighter, much like the character feels now,
Yeah.
much like that Peter got the gift of his own heart back, and a lightness of spirit back, and a remembrance that he can't be Spider-Man without being Peter, without being that good, ordinary kid that's always going to try as hard as he can to help as many people as possible, and to love and to be kind and to be thoughtful and to help old ladies cross the street. Like that, being reconnected to that essence of Peter is definitely makes me feel a much greater sense of lightness around the character, and to be in the MCU with Kevin Feige and with with Tom's Peter, and it's a very, very cool healing thing.
For all of us, an extraordinary film, an extraordinary performance. Congratulations all around. It's been fun to mix it up with you on this silly, bizarre publicity circuit. If you'll indulge me, I want to try one thing. Can I show you the 2 minutes of video, and can I just of our conversation, and you tell me what you were thinking as I stop and start it? All right. So here is our clip, Andrew, from last May. Tell me when to stop it if you want to just discuss anything that strikes you about your 2 minutes of enthusiastic denials. Here we go. I'll bring up the Spider-Man stuff because obviously I don't even want to like ruin anything if there is something to ruin, except to
there isn't anything to ruin, bro. I have to just quickly just cut you off. Okay, so immediately I'm stressed. Like immediately I'm like overexcited, and like my heart is racing and adrenaline is pumping through my veins. And like I overcompensate massively.
Was this the first like on camera question about it? Okay, so you knew this was coming. Yeah. Did you have a strategy going in? Did you know what you were going to say to me or the first person that was going to ask?
No, I didn't. I was going to just trust my instinct, and I really was framing it like a game of werewolf. I was literally like, for anyone who's played werewolf, it is the most stressful game ever, and like. Luckily, we have never played werewolf together, so you don't know my tells. And like, I've only I remember I remember my friends told me like, everyone's extremely good when they first play werewolf because no one knows about how they're gonna play or what their lying instincts are. But like, so my first instinct when I played werewolf and it worked was to like ride the anxiety of being the werewolf and like act as if I was just like so desperate for you to know that I'm not the werewolf, like so like to actually just like turn that feeling of knowing you are the werewolf, but acting as if you're like using it to say that you're not. So it's just using the energy, not suppressing it. So that was what I was trying to do, but it was just like I'm not.
You definitely used it. Let's watch the rest.
There's nothing to ruin.
Really?
Like it's so crazy to like.
This just gotten out of hand. This is all bullshit,
dude. It's fucking hilarious to me because it's like. Because I do have this Twitter account and I see like how often like Spider-Man is trending and it's like people freaking out about a thing and I'm just like, guys, like
you're proud of your work. You're happy with your work.
See, that was good because like that added color to the thing, and it's like, oh, I know, because I've been seeing within my Twitter thing, and it's like, oh man, like I keep thinking like, oh, I just want to be able to tell people I'm not. That's kind of, I'm impressed with that.
Yeah, I think if you had quit around here, we'd be okay.
I wish I could just like be able to speak to everyone and say like,
how did this take off? Because you
I
are.
recommend that you chill. Like listen, I can't speak for anything else apart from myself.
Sure.
Like they might be doing something, but then ain't none. Like I ain't got a call. So like,
Still believing it. I'm still. Well, that makes my life easier. Okay, no, that's good. That's unequivocal.
You know what it feels like though? It feels like, because this hasn't come up yet in an interview, but like, do you ever play the game Werewolf?
No.
Or Mafia?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
So you know that game? This is good. Again, this is very smart because it's like it's framing it in a way that like will justify my nervousness.
Right.
I'm like, how do I get people off my back? How do I justify that I'm acting like an insane person right now? And this will actually make this might actually, because without this, people will be like, he's really overdoing it.
Right.
But I think this maybe, my thought was anyway, I don't know if it was successful or not, but I think it's quite smart. But like the thought was, if I frame it in this way, they will read my anxiety and my fear
Yes.
as just this being a part of this game.
I think you'll see the turning point towards the end. Let's see.
And I think it's kind of similar where it's like you're convincing everyone that you're not in the mafia.
Right.
Like I feel like I'm in a game of fucking werewolf or mafia where I'm like, I'm not the werewolf. I promise you I am not the werewolf. And everyone's like, you're the werewolf. You're the fucking werewolf. Look at him. He's like, he's doing...
Okay, so for the record, my friend, on a stack of whatever you have there, you are not, as of this taping, in or have any knowledge of being in the next...
By the way, like what you did there, you fucker. Like that was fucking awful. Because I've just gone through all that rigmarole and now you're like using legalese like language.
And I'm making it friendly. You're my friend here. You wouldn't lie to me, Andrew,
and you're
right?
entrapping me. You're fully entrapping me. And after I've just gone through all that, I have to like, and now I feel bad. Like if I fully lie, like I have to like say language that can be like reinterpreted. So that was very smart on your end.
And indeed, I think mission accomplished, because if you look at your reaction here, you don't know what to do.
No, I blow it. I totally blow it. I feel like I feel like I like, haven't I just said that?
You have. I just want to get really clear. I want this is the unequivocal yes no answer. You won't say it's so adorable. You won't actually deny it. You won't just like say point blank.
I started to feel guilty. I started to feel really, really guilty at that point because I was like, oh my God, he's like putting me he's jamming me in a corner, and I don't want to lie to Josh. Like I really like Josh. And now like I'm being made to be a dick. I don't want to be a dick.
All right, let's finish it here.
I did not get a call.
Maybe they shot you guerrilla style, like in Mainstream on the street.
In Mainstream. Listen.
I wanted there, but so you did get a call? It wasn't a text or some smoke signal, for the record.
No, I actually didn't get a call. I got a text from Amy, and then it was organized for me to go and meet them in the office through my agent.
Okay, so you were telling the truth in really extenuating circumstances. The really stretch. Oh, I don't know about you, but this has been very cathartic. This is one of the more unique podcasts I've ever done. Like I said at the outset, I was looking forward to this for months, and you were a gentleman to submit yourself to this post-mortem. No, but it's
I know that we've been doing a fun dance, and it's good to complete it together. It's been really fun for me too. You've been a good sport with it.
Thanks, buddy. Congratulations all around, not only on Spider-Man. You know what a fan I am of Tick, Tick, Boom. Everybody, if you haven't checked it out by now, it's waiting for you on Netflix. The justified acclaim, the acclaim is warranted. Andrew just kills it in this, as does Lin-Manuel Miranda and the entire company. And congrats, man, again, on being part of like this pop culture moment that is just, it's more than just like a box office juggernaut. It's a really cathartic, emotional moment for any fan of Spider-Man, the MCU, your work, etc. So enjoy the moment, enjoy the ride, man.
I really appreciate that, and I'm so so grateful to you, and I'm really just really and just for the Spider-Man fans out there, I'm incredibly grateful to you guys for welcoming me back into the fold with such warmth and open hearts and open arms. And while you're here, yeah, watch Tick Tick Boom because it's such a beautiful story, especially for you young Spider-Man fans out there. You know, anyone who's ever wanted to be an artist or live a life of their own, like, you know, their own making and to follow your own dreams. This is a story about a man who did just that, and he was an incredible symbol of living our true calling and our true destiny. And I think you'll enjoy. It's a rock musical, so the music rocks.
A hell of a year for you, man. Tough to follow it up, but I know you've got it in you. Thanks as always for the time, and I'll see you in a bit.
I appreciate it, dude. Thanks again.
Thanks, buddy. All right, have a good one. Thanks, and that was a blast. So much
Have a good
fun.
one.
All
Thanks,
right,
dude.
see
Bye.
you, Ben.